Hey everyone, how is it going? Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're doing great out there. And if you're not doing great, I have a feeling that after today's episode, you're going to be feeling better. So we are going to be sending out positive vibes to you. And we are talking to someone who is all about positive vibes today. We are talking to actress Amy Park. Hey, Amy, how's it going?
Hey, Curtis. Thank you so much for the lovely welcome. I'm all about positive vibes, as you said, and I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming on this show. And you're calling in from where today?
Calling in from Los Angeles.
Southern Cal. All right. And wait, where were you filming the show, though? You were up in British Columbia?
Yes, in Vancouver.
Ah, okay. So back to SoCal for a little while, huh?
For a little bit, yeah. But man, Vancouver is beautiful. I don't know if you've ever visited, but it's a lovely, lovely place.
Yeah. No, I think have you been to San Francisco much?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Vancouver's one place I think in my mind that reminds me the most of San Francisco, so I definitely know I could live there.
You're not wrong. They definitely have a lot of similarities. And if you like living in San Francisco, I think Vancouver will be a very easy transition.
Yeah. No, I think it would be. Hey, what's good in LA right now?
Good in LA. The weather apparently is finally good. I've been traveling for about 3, 4 months, so I haven't visited LA in about, I guess, in 10 months or so. But apparently the weather is finally good, so I'm excited to be out, see my friends, eat good food, eat all my favorite acai bowls, all the things that I haven't been able to do in these last 10 months in LA.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, LA is, my sister's down in LA, and there's times when it's foggy in San Francisco in July, and it's like, you know what we should do? We should go visit LA.
And it's so close, so that's so clutch.
Yeah. So we are talking to Amy Park. Let me give a little background on Amy here. So I don't know if you're comfortable with people talking about you, but I'm gonna talk about you a little bit here. So let me tell you the story about how I found Amy. I found Amy after watching an episode of Alaska Daily, which is an ABC Hulu show. And I'm watching the show. And, since I do this podcast called the Infatuasian podcast, whenever there's an Asian on the screen, my antennas go up. I start thinking, who is this person? Who is this person on this show? And so I did a little, as we do now, did a little social media searching. You could call it stalking a little bit, but so I found your Instagram and I saw one of the, I don't know how to say this. I saw one of the most positive, inspiring reels that I've seen in a long, long time. And it was a reel of you. And there's no sound, but you describe it in the show notes. I mean, not in the show notes. You describe it in your caption, but there's no voices on it. There's just music. And I think you're saying, I got the part. If I'm reading lips correctly, you're saying I got the part, and there is laughing, there is crying, there is just, everyone is just super excited. You're telling friends and family about how you got the part on Alaska Daily. And so I just said, you know what, we gotta talk to Amy. So I searched you up and messaged you, and you got back to me. So happy to have you here.
Oh, Curtis, thank you so much. No matter how many times people talk about that specific reel I posted, it still touches me like it's truly the first time. There was really no emotion that can encapsulate how I felt receiving all the love and shared, joy with all of my friends and community. And, you never forget your first big win,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
will be always with me forever.
Yeah, it's very cool. So everyone out there should go find Amy Parks, AMI Parks, Instagram, and go check it out. And I know you've probably been told this before, but you definitely smile with your eyes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, but I'm going to take it a step further. Watching that video, I didn't realize that you can actually smile with your entire body. Like that video is you just so much joy in that video. So it's really, really cool.
Thank you so much. Oh, that I'm received. Thank you.
Well, let's dig. If you don't mind, could we dig into your roots a little? I've heard you speak Korean, so I'm guessing you're Korean American.
I am. I'm Korean American, born and raised in New York and New Jersey, so East Coaster. And then after graduating from college, I moved to Los Angeles about 6 years ago. So it's been a really, really great great East Coast and West Coast living.
Hmm. Was there a defining moment? I think actors or artists have a moment in their childhood or in their youth when they said, you know what I want to do? I want to be on the screen. I want to be on the stage. Was there a moment for Amy Park where you decided, you know what, I'm going to make a living out of this?
Yeah, it's so funny. Some people, it takes years and trial and error to figure out what they love. I kind of knew since I was 5.
Oh, wow.
Watching Disney channels, That's So Raven. And
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
you're familiar with that
Of
show, but
course. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was just Raven Simone's charisma, her energy, the just her aura. It just exuded off the screen, and I absolutely loved the show. I loved the relationship she had with Chelsea and Eddie and her parents, and I was like, I want to exude that. I want to have that. I want to be
Mm,
able to be on screen and share those stories as well. And I don't know if it's also because she was a person of color. I'm not sure if that's what resonated as well, but I was one of the very few Asian kids in my school and in my high school, my
uh,
middle school. And
uh,
so I think having someone that I can relate to as a fellow person of color was very important for me and integral. And especially watching that show when I was in elementary school, I think really shaped who I wanted to be and the career that I wanted to
yeah,
have.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we talk about that a lot on this show because that's kind of what we do, right? About representation. And, for a lot of people, it might have been Brenda Song or Vanessa Hudgens, or, there's all these folks that in the 2000s, there wasn't a ton, but there was one or there was two that you saw. And it makes a difference, if you can see it.
Oh yeah, Brenda Song was actually the first Asian American I've ever seen on screen. I know a lot of
Right?
people they talk about Lucy Liu, but for me it was Brenda
Hmm.
Song, and
Absolutely.
I really wanted to be like her. I started acting like her character on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody because I didn't know how else to be. Um, so very interesting times in middle school, I guess you could say.
Yeah, of course. And, I gotta hand it to Disney. Disney's not perfect company, right? But they're if through the years of terms in terms of representation, I feel like they've tried. They've tried more than other networks and tried more than other companies. And so, hey, you're part of the Disney family now. So how cool is that?
Yeah, we have a very diverse show, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think they were very intentional when they created the show together. So I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, we'll get to that in a second. It's a really cool show, but let's talk a little bit. Let's take a one step back and talk a little bit about college. So you decided you wanted to be an actor. So what you did was you got into a BFA program. Where were you at? Boston U?
Yeah, I was at Boston University for my BFA. It was an amazing conservatory program, and I'm so grateful that I went to it.
Now we were talking to I don't know if you know Stephanie Park. She plays Eliza Schuyler in Hamilton right now. She's on Broadway, and we talked to her, and funnily enough, she said that she wanted to do musical theater, but like yourself, there weren't a ton of role models out there, and not a ton of roles. And so she actually kind of thought she would just be the token Asian in the ensemble for a long time. When you were in college, did you see a path for yourself on stage or screen that like were you getting roles that were meaty and three-dimensional when you were in college or community theater?
Hey, I was really lucky. I was one of the very few, people of color who were able to get lead roles consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. Like everyone is very talented, so I don't know if it's because I was the only Asian female in my grade, so I had an advantage in that way because if they needed an Asian person, I was like their token
Yeah.
go to. I'm not sure how that worked out, but um, I will say it was very a really incredible experience being able to play 3D characters. And the last show that I did at BU, it was a new show called Baltimore by our incredible playwright Kirsten Greenwich, and she actually formed this show based on racism on college campuses.
Mm,
And
mm.
my cast and I, we were the first ever rendition of her play. And so she started asking each one of us one by one our experiences as, for me, what it was like being a Korean American. And so the character Grace Kim, a lot of her experiences that you see in this character were mine.
Uh,
So that was an unforgettable experience. I'll never forget it. And I think they're still playing and touring throughout different campuses now, which is
wow.
unbelievable.
Wow. 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 And then, so you graduate college, and then I didn't know a lot about the next couple of years, but I do see that you said something like 250 auditions and almost 10 years, and just kind of a long stretch there where it wasn't maybe the path that you thought you would have. But walk us through that time for us a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been acting for 20 years. And so it's been a very steady, long time coming thing. It's not overnight. And I think I knew that growing up because just the statistics around me during that time, there weren't that many roles for Asian Americans. And when I
Yeah,
came
yeah.
here to intern, I interned at a talent agency back in 2015. And I was there for the pilot season. So I'm interning at this talent agency and
Uh-huh.
there's thousands of roles coming in, So I'm
Yeah, yeah.
seeing literally every single role come in. And I think out of the entire pilot season, there were maybe three roles out there for me.
Uh,
And so I knew the statistics. I knew that was the reality of my time. But for whatever reason, it didn't bring me down. I just got more motivated because I had a feeling that it was going to shift. And I'm
yeah.
so glad that I believed in that because it really did. And I think what really keeps me going is just knowing that there is a space for everyone at the table. And I
Mm,
think
mm.
the entertainment industry, and not just the entertainment industry, but just society in general, they're truly it's really proving that everyone does get to have a space at the table,
Yeah,
and that diversity is the norm, and
yeah, yeah,
you can't overlook that. So
yeah.
I just feel like it's only going to get better and better for everyone, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah. We talked to a few actors, and they were saying, what it takes is people at the table, people behind the table, people on top of the table, under the table. You need the voices on every level, and we're starting to see that. We were just talking about beef the other day, and we're talking about everything everywhere all at once. When you get writers and you get producers and you get directors and of course actors involved, then it starts to look more like the world that and you start to see yourself in these stories.
Absolutely. And now I think, especially younger generation, they're so lucky because they've grown up knowing that, the lead roles are capable for them. Like they are capable of lead roles. And that there's so many stories and narratives that they can see themselves in naturally. And
Yeah,
so it's very different, I think, talking to someone who maybe is 12 or 13 versus someone who's in their 20s or
right.
30s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even just as recent as like 2, 3, 4 years. Like we're not talking decades, right? Because it hasn't changed. It didn't change until a lot of people say Crazy Rich Asians was kind of a watermark
Oh,
experience for us. Yeah.
Oh, I think it was a huge turning point because I know for me specifically, after 2018, the number of not just the number of auditions, but I think it was the quality of auditions started to go up for me.
Yeah.
And it was a huge turning point, I believe.
Yeah, I think it showed box office wise that people can Asian Americans can carry a film. You can make a film about Asian Americans or make a film with Asian Americans, and it can be a commercial and just critical success. So really, really important time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's only getting better. Like there's so many roles out for people now. And yeah, shows like Beef, shows like, like just there's just so many shows. I can't even count anymore. But incredible. I recognize like three people I knew just on the show Beef. And it just made me so happy. Like, oh my
Yeah, yeah,
God, like we're all doing it. And
Yeah.
I think it's really about when you just keep showing up consistently, there's gonna
Mm,
be a role that is perfect for you. I really believe that.
yeah. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, let's talk about your show.
Yeah.
It's called Alaska Daily. It aired on ABC, but now you can watch it on Hulu in its entirety. And I have to say, I cannot remember the last time I watched an American network show. Like, it's been a while. Do you watch national network TV that often?
Oh, no, I do not. I watch a
I
lot
know,
of
right?
streaming. I do love Abbott Elementary. I think that's
Okay, yeah.
such an incredible show. There are a few network shows that I do love, but it does not outweigh the number of streaming I watch.
Yeah, it's a different world out there. But you got into the show. It is called Alaska Daily. It takes place in Anchorage, Alaska, and it stars. I don't know. Did you know that Hillary was attached to this project from the get go?
Yes, yes. So when I first got the initial audition, it was all there, like who's making it, who's starring in it, and it's so funny because the initial audition, I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, what? This character, like, I don't resonate with this character. And I just sent in, a self tape and moved on. So I was really shocked when I got the call back. But when I read back on all the things that I specifically wanted in my like series regular manifestation, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God. I was like connecting the dots, and I was saying to myself, this is what I've been manifesting. So
Oh wow.
I showed up to the callback like I already got it, and I showed up with full confidence. So I'm so glad that
Yeah.
I did, because
Yeah.
had I not, I don't know if it would have turned out the way that it did.
Man, that's really interesting because do you remember how the character was described at first?
Shy and timid. Yeah, she was a
Oh,
timid character, and I'm grateful. I'm so happy that in the callback, Tom McCarthy, he was like, forget about the shy and timid. We're just gonna play. Like, just let that go. And I was like, great. And
yeah.
I just had fun. I don't really remember what we did in the callback, but I was very present, and we had a lot of fun, and I just knew it was mine.
Yeah, no, I don't know you very well personally, but when I watch you in the show, I feel like I see a little bit of Amy Park in Yuna Park, a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. The writers started to write based more on the actors, and you get to kind of see that, especially, you get to see some of my personality come through. But what
Yeah.
I did like about the way Yuna started was she was timid in the way that she was the newest reporter at the Daily
Mm-hmm.
Alaskan. So she's learning everything new. Her and Gabriel are the youngest, and Gabriel was
Yeah.
an intern, whereas was
Right.
like the first, like the youngest, the newest reporter. So I think the shy, the timidness you can see there, but I love the fact that you see Yuna's arc grow more in her confidence and finding that groundedness for herself.
Yeah. No, I think you do see that. And so, let me read to you the description of the show, and then maybe I'll ask you to do a better description of the show. Okay, so this is what's on IMDb. We have Alaska Daily is described as a journalist seeks a fresh start in Alaska, working for a newspaper in Anchorage.
They don't talk anything about the indigenous community.
That's it. Could you fill it in a little better than that for us? Well, how would you describe Alaska Daily? What's that show about?
Group of investigative journalists who are seeking to show a spotlight on the missing and murdered indigenous women in Anchorage, Alaska. How about that?
Yeah, that's a huge through line. And then it's episodic as well, so there's kind of different stories every week, but then there's that through line. And yeah, so that's something that's unique to Alaska, of course. Why do a show called Alaska Daily if you don't have something unique about Alaska? So that's unique. And so, yeah, you play Yuna Park, Korean American, and we don't know much about her background. I know you probably put in some homework and did a little research on who she was. What's your background on Yuna? Who's Yuna in your mind?
Yeah, so the creator and I and the producers, we talked about this. Her original name was Tian Lee, Tian Park. We changed it 4 times actually, and the producers eventually was like, Amy, we want you to name your character. So give us a list
Mm.
of Korean names that you really like and you want to be called, and we'll choose it from that list. And
Oh,
Yuna was one of them, and they really liked Yuna, and so they're like, okay, let's change it to Yuna. So the fact that I got to choose my own character's name is such a
yeah.
gift. I mean,
How
that
cool is that?
rarely happens.
Yeah.
So the fact that Tom McCarthy and the producers were so open
Yeah.
with me, just yeah, getting to go on that journey was amazing. And the reason why he initially chose the name Tune because he said that Yuna was born in Korea and then she
Mm.
moved to the States when she was very young. So
Hmm.
our idea is her and her family moved to Alaska when she was very young. There's actually a very big Korean community there, actually, and it's
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
cool. When I was doing research, I got to talk to a fellow Korean American who was born in
Oh,
Alaska,
oh,
and
oh,
yeah,
wow.
there's a whole community there, and it was very similar to I think the Korean community that I grew up in Jersey. So that was really cool alignment. And Tom and I decided that she went to school at UW and
Okay. Yeah.
then she became a lawyer in corporate litigation. And that was
Huh.
basically based off of her parents' wishes, not really so much hers. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I'm making good money, but I'm not satisfied. I'm not fulfilled. Um, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. And
Uh,
she decided to drop everything and become a reporter. And I fully support it.
yeah. Does Amy Park have a little? Your parents ever say, Amy, you went to college. Maybe it's time to get a different kind of job. Did they ever have that for you at all?
For whatever reason, my parents always wanted me to do what I loved. And I
Oh,
think it's because my mom specifically, I asked her this question. I was like, why were you always supportive of what I wanted to do? I told you I want to be an actor since I was 5, and you were like, great, let's do it. And she basically said, because I never got to do what I wanted to do.
oh,
Oh God, I
wow,
know. Tears,
wow,
right? Get
yeah,
your tissues out. She was like,
yeah,
why would I want my children to go through the same thing that I went through and not get to live out their fullest joy? So,
that's cool.
uh, kudos to my mom. Really, really grateful for her. And
Yeah,
I'm so lucky that I get to have a different experience.
yeah, yeah, it's not unheard of, but also not the norm either. So
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. Well, let's go back for a sec to the show. So, you know what I love? I really love this about Yuna. And I'm so glad you picked the name too. Kept it Korean. I mean, she could have been a Sarah. She could have been a Michelle.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah, she could have been a Jessica, right? A Jennifer Jessica. But I am really happy that Tom and the producers wanted to stick to her Korean roots. And uh, funny enough, I was like, well, if Yuna's Korean American, then she can definitely speak Korean. I fully believe that. And I actually asked the producers if I could speak Korean in the show. And
yeah,
so they were like, we love the idea. And episode 5 became, the episode where Yuna got to speak Korean. And that was an unforgettable experience. I'm so, so thankful to ABC for that.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that was a cool moment for you too. Yeah, very cool. But what I really love about Yuna, besides just her name, is that she's a three-dimensional Korean American person. She, I think growing up in the 80s and 90s, there were kind of two different roles, right? There was like you were an Asian who was clearly Asian, where that's the whole show is about it. The fresh off the boat, or Kim's gonna be that's what the whole show is about. Or you're kind of an Asian character who could be anyone, but you happen to be an Asian actor. Like, did you ever watch Gilmore Girls?
Bits and pieces. I know there was the Asian character on that show,
Yeah.
but no one really talks about her, unfortunately,
Yeah, they never explain. They never really explain it. Like she's in a small town. What is it, Connecticut or something? She's a small town, and she's Korean American. She's Lane Kim. But they never. I didn't watch the show religiously, but she was just there, and that's fine. You know, it's good to see a face up there. It was good to see some. But what I love about your character on your show is that you are clearly Korean American, but it's not about the fact that you're Korean American, and the culture is who you are and part of who you are, but it's not. You know, I love that we have these roles now, and I love that they're being written and they're asking questions. They're asking you questions about your childhood and what would Amy do in this situation. I love that. I love that.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. I wanted to be I think there's spaces for both, right? Because there are parts of me that solely want to do lots of Asian driven, rooted storytelling. Yeah. And then there's another part of me that also wants to investigate what it's like to not have to talk about that, because it's just a part of who I am. And I really think that Alaska Daily did a great job, just, because there's we have an Indigenous character, we have a Latin American character, we have a Black character, we have a Korean American character. All of our backgrounds are just part of us, but it doesn't make it the thing that defines us. And I think it's beautiful that we can now finally have storytelling that makes space for both.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely time, right? Because I know when I open my door and I see my friends and I see my family, we are clearly Chinese American, but we don't talk about it every single day. But it informs our decision. It informs, our choices. And I think it's time. I think it's time that you can see a cast that part of them look like you. It's just nice to see a slice of life that kind of could be San Francisco. It could be Los Angeles. It could be New Jersey. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you got this. It's very, I think they transitioned into this very well, but when Yuna was going through a really tough time, her coworker and like kind of lover, Austin, recommended her to go to therapy. And she was hesitant at first, because I think from a lot of Asian American backgrounds, therapy is this thing that's like, what is wrong with you? Why would you go to therapy? And it was really cool how he broke it down for her. And you get to see that real time and her going into therapy. And then you see a shift in her immediately. And I thought the show did a really great job of showcasing that so delicately. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. There's a bunch of cool moments. My only beef about this show, so that Yuna didn't get enough stories. We got to get Yuna some more stories to work on. Come on, Sydney, give her some stories. Give her some meaty stories to work on.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But yeah, really fun show. Everyone should go check it out. We are, fingers crossed. I saw you just post a poll on USA Today. I'll put a link to it in our show notes here. But yeah, we don't know for sure if there's a season 2, but we definitely need one. There's some unresolved business. We have a love line. We don't know how it's going to turn out exactly. So yeah, everyone go out there, vote for, go on the USA Today poll and vote for Alaska Daily. Go watch it. I'm sure ABC Hulu is looking at the numbers. They want to see more downloads. So go to Hulu, binge the whole thing, binge it 5 times, and just make sure you get people out there watching the show. It's really, really fun. What was the biggest takeaway for you in terms of learning as an actor, as a person? What was your biggest lesson coming out of Alaska Daily?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah, sure.
I think, this is my first time as a series regular, so it's one of my first times being one of the ensembles that carries, a show from start to finish. And I think what the biggest thing I've learned is to know my boundaries and to stand up for what I believe in, because the only person who can stand up for your character is yourself, the actor. And I never knew how to do that before. I never had the chance to. So I think when I believed in something and I wanted to stick to it, whether it was how the character looked or what she believed in or what she thought, I think it was wonderful that we were able to collaborate with the writers and let them know what was on our minds about our characters and their arcs. And I don't know if that's rare or not, but I know that from our show, we just became a beautiful family. And the cast and crew have been absolutely incredible. And I think from us just really taking in and learning and listening and being open minded was the key to a really lovely season one.
Yeah, no, that does seem like a cool thing to have some input and some say. We were talking to Stephanie Park, I mentioned before, and she's on Broadway, and she said she had to learn that there are some values that we have as Asian Americans where we respect our elders. Maybe we hold our tongue. We're maybe a little more non-confrontational. I'm stereotyping, but maybe that's a little more in our culture to do that. And she said she had to unlearn a little bit of that. Because, there's a hierarchy, and sometimes the hierarchy doesn't respect the one who doesn't say anything,
Yes, there definitely is a lot of unlearning. I agree with Stephanie in many forms. And I think it's hard to stand up for yourself. It's hard because I know for me, I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not talking back and not telling not stating what you're actually thinking, and because it comes off rude. I had to really unlearn that and understand what boundaries were, first of all, because growing up there were no boundaries in Asian households. I'm generalizing, but what are boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so figuring out what my boundaries were, making sure my mom now understands what boundaries are, and just in general, because it's self-respect, and the more I get to respect myself, then I get to respect others and their boundaries too. So it is a growing learning experience for sure.
Yeah.
I have
all right.
Curtis. What made you get into Alaska Daily? Because you said you don't watch network television. What was the appeal from the start?
Let me think. How did I find Alaska Daily? I just subscribed to Hulu. And maybe because I watch a lot of Korean content on there, I don't know if that would have triggered it. Maybe, I don't know. It came up as a suggested, and I like Hillary Swank, and I mean, who does it, right? So when I saw her attached to it, and I saw she's doing a TV show, I don't think I've ever seen her do a TV show. I know her from movies. And so I said, I got to watch this, right? And I love Alaska. Actually, that's weird too, is I like Alaska. I've watched, have you ever heard of the show called Less Than Zero?
No, I haven't.
Oh, what's it called? No, not Less Than Zero. That's the Robert Downey Jr. No, it's called Life Below Zero or something like that. It's about people who live way north, like even north of Anchorage. Like they're way in the Arctic Circle. And they hunt and they fish, and some of them are indigenous. And I love that show. And so I like things Alaska. I don't know why. And so that popped up, Hillary Swank. And then I watched an episode. I said, I'll give this a try.
Thank you so much for doing that. I know that Alaska, well, I didn't really know Alaska very much until I went there for the pilot. It's so beautiful there. I mean, the nature is exquisite.
Yeah, it's really unique. I think of all the states, I think Hawaii and Alaska are the most unique of all the American states. Like they're so different than others. And
I don't disagree. I believe they're beautiful. Yeah. I can't wait to explore Alaska more, to be honest.
So you were up there for the pilot, but not most of the shooting, or just some of the shows?
Just a few of the shots were in Alaska. Yeah, the exteriors.
Yeah. So you got your taste. I've noticed your Instagram tends to be tropical more than snow. So was that a little bit of a change for you, Alaska? And I don't know what month you were there, but
yeah, we were there September, October of 2021. You're probably seeing a lot more tropical because I've just done like a 3-month tropical vacation around a few countries.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I think it's beautiful. I don't know if I'd want to live there because the winters are a little long and a little harsh, but in terms of culture and just unique experiences, I think Alaska is pretty cool. So maybe someday I'll get up there for a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely.
if you don't mind, could we take it back to another period of your life? This is before Alaska Daily, and in some ways, I think maybe it was important. I don't know how you feel about the greater arc of life and stuff like that, but in some ways, I feel like it was important for you not to have gotten Alaska Daily for this part of your life. So I'm talking about this time when you started this company, or I don't know what you call it, collective, or it's called, I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in 2019, there were just a series of events that were, when you have some of those like times in your life when it's like one of your biggest downfalls, and you just kind of have to stop everything. It was, I think in August, September of 2019, it was just like a week of my mom getting cancer, the news of my mom, and I got scammed by a quote unquote friend. I was like very, very close to be a lead on a Netflix show, and that was also the same week I found out that that they went a different way, and so many other things. It was like, the week that my first dog died. It was just like a very, very sad week. And just having $16 in my bank account, I knew that I had to do something very quick, not only for myself, but now to help with my mom with her hospital bills. And I started thinking quick on my feet, and I started messaging people, what do you guys know me as? Like, what am I good at? And what do you think I can teach? And the majority answer was, Amy, you would be an amazing life coach. I would pay you to be a life coach. And I didn't have time to really think about it because it was kind of a desperate situation. And I gave myself 8 weeks to create a coaching program called the Awaken Joy, and started building my entire program. And the first run of it, every single seat got sold out. And I knew that there was something to this. And so I started doing rounds and rounds and rounds more. And I did 3 years of Awaken Joy and just finally decided to close it in January. So it's been an amazing chapter of my life. It changed my life. And I met more people than I ever thought I would, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know that it just closed, but it looked like it was amazing work. And, the reason I say maybe it was good that you didn't have Alaska Daily was because, everyone might say, oh, well, of course she can be happy about her life, right? She's a star on network television. But I think it was good that you're at the place maybe as low as you can go, right? And that made your message more genuine.
It was definitely one of the lowest points in my life. But, you turn your mess into your message, right? As Tony Robbins say. And I think it's like when you're at the way bottom, there's nowhere you can go except for up. And I knew in my gut that I wasn't going to be acting, anytime soon. And I remember meditating for long hours, and it just kept telling me, like, my gut was like series regular Vancouver 2021.
Whoa.
I just kept seeing those words. And I believed in it. I trusted my gut. And I think I come from a long line of Zen Buddhist lineage. And so meditation has been a very big part of my life. And I'm really grateful for it because I trust in my gut, and pretty much everything that I do when I follow my gut turns out to be true. So yeah, I think, my guides and just my own intuition was telling me, wait 2 years, create this program, and, make sure your plan B, which was my Awaken Joy program, supports your plan A, which is my acting career. And I just knew that it was going to be happening in the fall, winter of 2021 in Vancouver. And so I started getting ready for that. I started hiring, other coaches to take over my spot. I started getting ready to go to Vancouver. So when my reps called and they said, Amy, pack your bags. You're going to Vancouver. I was like, they're already packed. And
Wow.
they know me. They know I'm all about manifestation, the law of attraction. They were like, Amy, you manifested this. Like, oh my God, of course your bags are already
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Wow.
I was preparing for this for a very long time in a very steady way.
Wow. Wow. Well, I love that story. That I don't know. Got chills listening to that story. It's so cool. So cool. Um, so what's the plan? What are we doing? So we're hoping Alaska Daily comes back, but what's new for Amy Park, or what's upcoming for Amy Park?
I Right now I'm just focusing on being in the present moment. I mean, I just kind of finished my long 4 month trip in
Uh,
several different countries, and I want to get back into routine. I think right now, yeah, it's really just focusing more on myself again. I really love healing and focusing on whatever things I want to work on or heal on or just educate myself on. So I've been taking this time to really focus on myself and the areas that I know I want to grow other than acting. And so for me, sustainability is a big part of my life. I've been thinking of different ways to grow in that field. And I know that Awaken Joy is on pause. I know it's going to definitely come back in some other shape or form, maybe not life coaching, but I know it's going to continue because I still believe so much in the pillars of joy and, attracting what you want, and what you seek will also seek you. But taking this time to ruminate on, what that will look like, and just enjoying day by day, because I know the news will come out soon. And I trust that whatever is happening for my highest good. So I
uh-huh.
feel very supported and grounded no matter which way it goes. But I do really hope to come back for season 2.
Oh man, we are rooting for you. We are rooting for the show, but we are especially rooting for Amy Park, aka Yuna Park, and we're just hoping that not only does the show come back, but she's gonna get some killer stories. She's gonna be out there in the field finding the stuff that is important. Hey man, thanks so much for sharing your story. Do you mind doing a little lightning round?
Oh my gosh. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. We might have already mentioned this, but what was your favorite TV show growing up?
That's So Raven on Disney Channel.
Nah, that's so Raven. I have a student named Raven. It's a boy, and we always say that he says it to himself, but every time he does something, we just say that's so Raven. Oh man. All right. Okay, what was, besides acting and besides getting to work your art on the show, what was the best thing about being on Alaska Daily?
The cast and crew, honestly, I know that may be like, oh, obviously, but it's really not, because I've heard from so many other fellow actors and crew
Hmm.
members that you don't always like your cast
It's
members. You don't
not a
always like,
guarantee. Yeah.
the people that you're working with. And I I don't know what that feels like, because I love it so much. And I love my cast members. It was like you come to work and it didn't feel like work, you're just working with your friends. So I will never take that for granted.
Yeah. You know that I don't know if that was just a happy accident, but that was what the show was about too, is becoming family. And Hillary's character is not into that at first, and then she gets sucked into it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
About that, Curtis. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, it kind of comes full circle, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw out two. You get to pick one.
Okay.
K-pop or K-dramas?
Oh, K dramas, like OG K dramas, Like I've been obsessed with K-pop and K dramas since, like the 2000s, when nobody really knew about them. And oh gosh. Yeah, the OG like K dramas I'm all about. Also the OG K-pop, like Big Bang,
Uh
Super
huh.
Junior, like that was my time.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're not alone. There's a lot of people in maybe your demographic that's where they started, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, pick one. Bibimbap or kalbitang?
Bibimbap all the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. I'm a bibimbap. I'm a rice person, so rice is life. So I'm all about the bibimbap.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Now, I don't know if you know a ton of Asian actors, but name an Asian actor that you would love to work with.
Daniel Day Kim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, speaking of OGs, right? ABC show Lost in like 2000. Keeping it on brand. You're keeping it on brand, Amy. That's good.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was an ABC. Wow. Yeah.
Oh man.
Keeping it on brand. I love it.
But yeah, no, with the cheekbones, the chiseled chin. Oh man, how could you not go Daniel Day? All right, very cool. All right, and we like to end each episode by asking our guests to choose an infatuation. Infatuation is anyone in the Asian community that you admire, could be living or deceased. So, Amy Park, who is your infatuation?
I really admire Keanu Reeves for his character. I love the fact that he gives and gives so much. He's so humble, and I want to follow his footsteps of donating to different charities and causes and to crew members. When you think of Keanu Reeves, you only hear good things, and I think that's really admirable. And yeah, he is definitely someone I admire deeply.
Yeah. No, he's the nation's boyfriend, right? He's just the coolest guy.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
I mean, he rides the subway, he gives away money. He's just super nice.
Yeah. And he's had such a story himself. And so you see all of that and you see the way he carries himself. And it's amazing. Oh, it's such a role model. Yeah.
It's too bad he's so ugly, though. You know, that's the one thing.
Hey, his character. No, he's a beautiful soul inside and out.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, I think that does it for our episode, Amy. Well, today you are our infatuation. We're so happy to have you on here. Everyone out there, go watch Alaska Daily and go stream it, vote for it, whatever you write a postcard to ABC, Disney, whatever you need to do. Get this show a season 2. Thanks so much for coming along, Amy.
Thank you so much, Curtis. And thank you to everybody who's listening. And again, I'm so honored to be a part of this. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll keep in touch. Next time you get a vision for where you're going to be, can we jump on that manifestation too and be part of that?
100%. I will let you in on it.
Awesome. All right. So everyone out there, go follow Amy. You can follow Amy at Amy_Park on Instagram. Do you have any other social media?
No, Instagram is pretty much it.
All right, so go follow Amy at Amy_Park on Instagram, and of course, go watch Alaska Daily. And hey, everyone out there, did you learn something today? I hope you did. That's a lot of what we do around here. And I mentioned usually you can write to us at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at the Infatuasian Podcast, and we'll put all these details in the show notes. And so on behalf of Amy and myself, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. Until we talk to you again soon, bye.
Bye.